we'll be creating stylized horizontal rules, an element that helps visually separate or break up content. We can choose from this collection of 66 designs that I made. 36 are free. There's more inspiration on the web, and you could even make your own custom designs. Why would you ever use a horizontal rule? Sometimes you have long blocks of text or want to visually break up sections. That's when we'd reach for the HR element. But there's limits to how much you can style it in CSS. I mean, there's CSS artists like Diana Smith who could visually do practically anything in CSS, unless you're willing to spend weeks creating CSS art and the 10,000 hours required to get that good. There's SVG for the rest of us. I made these SVG graphics for you to use as horizontal rules, link in the description. You can find the one you want to try and click it. While you could grab it as an SVG or PNG file, let's choose CSS so we can manipulate it. Next, paste it in the CSS as a background image. To get this to work as desired, there are two parts. Remove the unwanted default horizontal rule styles, and update a few background properties. So first, let's address the default CSS styling that we'll want to disable. You'll likely want to have padding 0, especially when you set the height. Margin 0 can help, though you may want to specify the space between the horizontal rule and the elements above and below. Lastly, let's use border none, which will prevent the horizontal rule from showing as a line. You might find it useful to have default sizes like so. Now that we removed the line the horizontal rule showed, we have a few properties to play with. Background repeat, no repeat, is something you'll likely want since backgrounds repeat as tiles by default. Though if we have a pattern for the horizontal rule, then we can skip it or specify that we want the repeat only along the x-axis. You'll often reach for background size, cover, or contain. Contain makes the background graphic as big as possible without spilling past the container's edges. This is ideal when we want to see the entire graphic. Cover fills the entire background so there is no white space, which means there will be some clipping along the top and bottom, or the left and right of the graphic. The outward arrow's horizontal rule works even when the top and bottom get clipped. Lastly, you can use your own custom background size when you want to use a fixed size. Notice only the width affects the actual size, as SVGs will naturally keep their ratio. But you can change that, which brings us to our next tip. You can add preserve aspect ratio equals none, and you add this to the SVG tag. This will stretch the SVG to fill the entire container with the background. In this case, background size cover and contain do the same thing. But now your custom sizes will work for both the fixed width and fixed height size. Just note that stretching can ruin the proportions of some graphics, while it may work for others. Another useful property is background position. If the graphic doesn't fill the entire width and you want it to align the text, choose 0% or left if you want it left aligned. You can add a second number or keyword to align the background vertically, such as left center or left bottom. For patterns to stay symmetrical, you'll likely want 50% or center. So as the pattern extends outward from the center, it does so evenly. Now that you can customize horizontal rules, go experiment, give them some style, and level up your designs. And if you use one of my graphics, I'd love to see. Let me know in the comments. Catch you next time.